Question 6. How do you plan and run PD sessions at Coastal and the process? I'm happy to kick this off, but I would also love to hear your thoughts, because obviously you're a part of PDs as a participant and sometimes driving them as well. So I think firstly, like, why do we run PD sessions? Well, like, for us as an organization, there's numerous parts of this. The obvious answer is, like, we want to always be developing our coaches here. So that means, constantly pushing them, challenge them to improve, to think about things differently, to broaden their horizons, to learn new skill sets. But number 2, as an organization as well, especially in the coaching industry, it is like, I always ask myself the question, like, what value am I providing to my people? And obviously the simple value that most gym owners will think is like, well, I'm giving them a place to train people. I'm referring clients to them. But they get to a point in a coach's career where they kind of realize, I could be kind of generating my own clients here. I could find my own gym to train. So I'm always asking myself, like, what can I give to my coaches that they can get nowhere else? And one of those things I think is, like, sharing experience, wisdom, professional, and that's how we do it in the professional development sessions. So it's always been ingrained as a part of our culture. It's like, I want to be sharing everything that I've learnt. I want individuals in a team who have unique skill sets, talents, pieces of knowledge to be sharing that with everyone else. And together it upgrades our prescription of coaching as a team. And ultimately it's a win-win-win-win, in every possible way. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, just when I partake in the PDs, it's like when you've got a room filled with 12 coaches, all with different backgrounds and different experiences, that becomes just a melting pot of different ideas, right? And people challenging each other. And we know through challenge comes growth. Going back to, like, the one of the first questions, it was like, how do we run it? Well, just like we talked about before, we just reverse engineer it again. Like, you go in with an intention and you just reverse engineer it. One thing that I kind of not struggled with, but it was a learning curve for me. I think context is always important. Just like we have with these questions, we've got to have some sort of context. I mean, when I run the PDs, it's generally on the build program and we share ideas and stuff, but it's very hard if the individual's not got the context of what happened before, and not just the training cycle before, but like the training cycle, like 4 or 5 training cycles before, in order to make decisions, right?
Yeah. In terms of how we structure it, we kind of, it changes with the seasons. Like, we'll go through periods where the focus will be, okay, and we often decide this together. When we kind of finish a chapter, we've been learning about something for the last 5 weeks. We'll say, right, what do we feel the next lowest hanging fruit is? What do we feel like we haven't had touches on a long time? What do we want to learn about? And as a team, generally speaking, we'll decide, okay, we'd love to focus on, sharpening our group coaching skills. So perhaps then, myself, maybe Alex, whoever I feel is relevant and has skill sets to contribute. All right, let's build a curriculum now for the next 5 weeks where we can take the coaching team through group coaching skill sets. After that, we'll move into the next one. So something we've been doing quite a lot of recently is, like, program design case studies. And that's really cool, because not only do we help the individual who is presenting their case study, because we're using real life case studies. So in your case, it might be, writing the next block for build program. It might be for me writing the next block for live, perform, compete. It might be for one of our coaches, like an individual client they're working with who has a specific goal. And so that's always cool, because the person whose client we're working on is learning through just getting, like you said, this melting pot of ideas from 12 other people. And then, we are all learning by just going through that same process, because at the end of the day, principles are always the same. Like you said, like, what is a goal? What is an intention? Reverse engineer, go through the steps that we always go through when it comes to program design, and bang, the last thing you're going to do is fill in the steps, reps, exercise selection, so on and so forth. And I know those are always fun. Like, those are never not fun sessions, because someone always has a different way to look at it, or a different thought, or a different idea to tackle the problem. What do you think?
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Really good.
So I think, to answer the question, it's like, firstly, acknowledge, like, what skill sets do you, if you're someone who's running PD, because I know the person who asked this is a leader within his own gym and wants to start something similar, firstly, ask yourself the question, what skill sets do you have that you can share with your people? Number 2 is, like, another question is, like, what do we need as an organization?
That's what I was going to say. Just ask your coaches, what do you guys feel that we need to upskill, right?
When do we need to step up our game? When do we need to improve? And then, the next one is, like, what resources do you need to do that? Sometimes, you don't need any other resources other than the team that you have. This is kind of like where we're at. Like we don't often need more resources than people we have here. Sometimes we'll have, you know, like for example, I did the N1 course, and everything I learned on that course, I just relayed back to the team. So, you know, when we have individuals in your team who are, let's say, investing time and energy into learning from external sources, like I think that should always be fed back into team. And as a company, you know, I want to financially support people to go and do those things, knowing that that's always going to get fed back into company. We're all going to learn through that person.
Nice.
And it just keep on asking questions. What do you want to learn about? And just keep on changing. But I do think creating a consistent schedule where professional development is in there every single week, you know, no matter what, do it. And like, if you don't have something planned, there's always something you can do.
There's always something.
Sometimes we'll just sit and talk about like, tell me one win from the week. Tell me something.
One challenge.
Yeah, one challenge from the week. And that always like sparks amazing conversation because like it starts with people just sharing their struggles. Then it starts as like, it goes into like team therapy, and then people then like, oh, I'm struggling with the same thing. Yeah. Just make that time for yourself. Make that time for your team.
Like it.